Hi there, I'm Tomas Michaud, and today is the fourth day in my 30-day guitar coaching series. Now today I'm going to tackle restringing the nylon string guitar. I've had questions over the years, and there are a few little tricks I want to show you. So let's get down to this. By the way, I'm in my backyard. It's a beautiful sunny day in California, so I thought I'd take advantage of it, and at the same time, we can get down to business. Here we have the tools I'll be using. I'm going to use an electronic string winder. I really like it. It saves me a lot of time. I also have the strings, of course, and a polish cloth and polish, because I'm going to polish the guitar between snapping the strings off and putting the new strings on. And of course, I've got some clippers to clip the strings, and a tuner, which I'm going to need at the end and probably many times afterwards. Okay, I'm going to start off by loosening the strings. So let me do this. Now, the string winder can go two different ways. It can tighten or loosen. I have it set to go loosen. Because I'm going to cut the strings and I don't want it to snap in my face. Okay, that should do the trick. Time to cut. I cut once up here. And then I cut down here to save myself some trouble. I've tied these on good, so this takes a little bit. Okay, time to polish the guitar. Let's give it a good shine. Okay, we're going to start with the first string, the high E string. First string, and it's also called high E. The reason is, this has a little extra winding, the ones with the plain nylon. You have two types of strings. Some that have a winding. We still call them nylon because they're a nylon cord with wound on top of the nylon core, a metal winding. Then you have the plain nylon. It looks like fish line. That's what I think of. I used to fish when I was a kid. So this one tends to slip. So this is going to be the hardest one to tie properly, I should say. So first of all, the easy part. Up here, we're going to slip it through once, and then wrap it around once through itself, a simple knot, if you could call it, and then I'm going to pull it so it stays firm. Now I'll go to the other side. This is good, because once I wind it, that's enough. And I need to provide some slack because we're going to wind it up. And if it's tight, I've got nowhere to wind it. Now I'm going to pull the string through the little hole here. Pull it back a little to allow some slack to wind it up. Now here's the trick. I'm going to wrap it around the string once. Then I'm going to go back through and do a couple more wraps. Whoops. Slippery little thing. And two. Okay, if you do three, two seems to work for me. And then when I tighten it, it makes a knot. Let's do that one more time. This is the key. Undoing. Now, some slack. Gonna wrap it around once. And I want the end of the string aiming this way when I'm done. So see, it's going to make a loop around. Now I'm going to loop it around the loop. 1, 2. Oh. So now I want to hold the string so it's aiming that way towards the 6th string of the guitar, the thick string. Now pull it tight. Let me make sure I got enough slack. That looks okay. It's not a critical, it's exactly right. Now I'm going to hold that and wind it. Let's get a little going here first. Wrong way. There we go. So I want about 3 winds on the peg winder here. That's 1, 2, let's look, and 3. And that's why I like the electric peg winder. Saves me a lot of trouble. Oh, I feel it getting tighter. Good. Now I'm going to check this other end. Looking good, but I want to make sure that this ends up down there. I did pretty good this time. Okay, let's go on to another string. This is the second string, and we're going to do the same thing as we did with the first and the third. They're both plain nylon. And then we'll do something a little different when we get to the wound strings. I'll go quickly through this. Okay, now we're ready to go on with the wound strings. I'm going to start with the 4th string, or D, depending on what you want to call it. And the wound strings are a little different because they have some friction on them, so they tend to stay put. I don't have to be so careful about winding them. Be careful, unlike me, don't put the 1st string right there, the 4th string rather. The 4th string goes there. The 6th string actually is the lower one, and the 4th string's the higher. So let's get this right. Now, because this string has a lot more friction, I don't really need to tie it here. But I am going to tie at least this one, just because it's a little easier to hold on to it while I'm working on the other end. When you get to the 6th string, it gets pretty hard to tie it. Now, as I put the 4th string through the hole, I'm going to wrap it just one time through, and I want the string to end up going this way. So I'm going to wrap it up this way, and then once through, so it ends up the end sticking this way. And I'm also going to use this opportunity to tie or to kind of clamp down on these loose 1st, 2nd, and 3rd strings. It looks neater, and it's also a little extra security. Let's take a close look at that. I'm pushing the string through, leaving some slack. Now I'm wrapping it around this way once. Now the end is aiming this way towards the thin strings. I'm going to wrap it around one more time, and still the string is aiming the same way. Now I'm going to tuck these strings under a little bit. Not critical, but looks better. Harder than I thought. There we go. Now we'll tie them down. So if I wasn't feeling a little pressure, I'd spend a little more time maybe trying to get it to look a little neater. I like for the end of the 6th string to be down low, but for practical purposes, this is just fine, and I'm going to leave it. There we go. Now I'm ready to tighten it up. Okay, now let's finish it up. I've left quite a bit of slack here. I think I'm going to pull this a little bit tighter. It's a little too much. Okay, let's quickly go through the 5th and 6th strings. Now, one tip I want to mention about the 6th string, it has a part on this one end of the 6th string that the winding is a little bit looser and it's easier to flex. Because the 6th string is so stiff, I want to reserve that part for tying down here. Let's go on with that. Okay, now we're ready for a little trim job. Let's clean up the strings here. I don't want to get poked in the eye here, so do a little trimming. I don't need to trim the first 3 strings because they're caught underneath these strings here. And then over here. Now I'm ready to tune the guitar for the first time. No small feat. I'll start with the 6th string and get the 6th string in tune, and then roughly tune all the other strings to that 6th string. Because the guitar is going to stretch so much, I'll have to let it sit overnight anyway, so I'll probably just tune it with a tuner a few times, know it's only going to be rough, and then come back at it after it's stretched for at least several hours, preferably overnight. Thank you for joining me today. It's been a pleasure. I look forward to seeing you again soon. Hopefully tomorrow I'll be doing another video. Hey, if you have any tips on changing strings or things that have worked for you, let us know in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. Bye for now.